Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Virginia City Council chambers. This is a public hearing, a notice of a public hearing. Today's date is March 14th, 2023, and again, the time is 5 p.m., and we have a full council present today. We're required by law when we do some things with a public hearing, and this is a public hearing regarding a project in the city of Virginia. A notice is hereby given that the City Council of the City of Virginia, Minnesota will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, March 14th, 2023 at 5 p.m. at the Virginia City Council Chambers 327 First Street South relating to the proposed city ordinance amending Chapter 8, Section 8.07, entitled Rules and Regulations for the Use of Waters of Silver Lake and Virginia Bailey's Lake. A copy of the proposed ordinance is on file and available for public inspection during regular business hours at the office of the city clerk at the City Hall, Virginia, 327 First Street South, Virginia, Minnesota, and on the city website at www.virginiamn.us. All interested parties may appear at the public meeting and present their views orally or in writing. And so I would ask our city clerk, do you have any emails or any other written correspondence regarding this notice of public hearing?
No, I have not received anything, Mayor.
Have any phone calls or recordings requesting to appear?
No, I have not.
Is there anybody in the audience that would like to address the council regarding this ordinance? So the purpose of this public hearing is to make an amendment to the ordinance to satisfy the requirements of the Department of Natural Resources. Now, the city of Virginia is going to put in what they call like a floating dock, a walkway that connects the trail, and it's designed to be constructed behind the Northern State Bank on an angle there in front of the Department of Utilities to hook up to another part of the trail, so people do not have to walk through the Department of Public Utilities off that 2nd Street South in order to gain access to the trail again. So we received money from the LCCMR, a significant amount of money to build this dock. We were scheduled to do it last year, but there was cost prohibitive in which to do so. We have the funds available in which to construct this now. And so this is the purpose of this meeting, is to hear comments and anybody about that. The DNR is going to be reviewing our request. We have to have this public hearing to satisfy the DNR, and we're going to submit our copy of our ordinance to the DNR for their review and hopefully their approval, and move forward with amending it to allow us to build this bridge across the trail, this floating dock, so to speak. Now, people will be able to utilize this dock for fishing, walking across the way. The only restriction that the DNR has indicated to us, and that we'll have to put some signage up to ensure compliance with the DNR request, and we'll see when that comes back, what those requirements are. But access between the shoreline and the dock, where the dock or the trail is blocking access by motorboats and by canoes and by paddle boats or whatever the case may be. And the DNR has sometimes prohibits the use of those type of things if we're blocking off part of the lake. So we have to make an adjustment to that. And so I think that's the gist of it all. So I'm going to ask Matt Reed if he's our SCH or engineer who's helped design and move forward with this. And Matt, do you have anything else that you'd like to add? Is the information I've disseminated accurate, or if there's more information to follow?
Good evening. No, Mayor, you hit the nail right on the head. I don't have anything else to add.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Okay, so no comments or concerns. We're looking for the council to any questions or clarifications about this. In our council packet will be a resolution authorizing us, if we, upon the completion of this public hearing, to submit our draft ordinance to the DNR for their review. Councilor Beyondich.
Thank you. So, and I know we received this document here tonight, but should I be waiting for the council meeting to ask other questions on this, or would this be an appropriate time?
You can ask it now.
So is this, and I remember a while ago we talked about this when we kind of delayed the project. Is this fully funded?
Matt?
We'll see. We've got a lot of money. We started the trail last year, so we're going to use some of it. I can't remember the exact amount. I think it was like 1.3 or 1.4 million that we got, 1.1 maybe. And we're going to use a couple $100,000 of it to do the segment along the park this year. That's already been bid and ready for construction. It'll really depend on what the prices of the floating dock end up coming back at. So talking with Britt, it seems like there's a reasonably good chance that we'll be able to do it, but we really have to be cautious and make sure that the bids come in within the budget. So we'll have to see.
So this is step one for to pass this resolution for is it for the DNR, did you say?
Yeah.
For
we're-
that has nothing to do with it? Okay,
Well, we're drafting our ordinance to put the floating dock across to connect the two trails. And so we need to have a public hearing about that, what we're having now. And then, once that's completed, then we have to submit in the draft ordinance to the DNR for their review, which will be in our packet for tonight's council meeting. And then hopefully they'll approve it. And if it gets approved, then we can start talking about how we're going to fund it and when we're going to build it.
okay, thank you.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, we have no one from the general public, no written comments, no requests, nothing for us to act upon today. Unless a counselor has any other questions regarding this public hearing, moving forward with this draft ordinance for consideration at tonight's council meeting. Is there any other comments or questions that we may have? Seeing none, Councilor Johnson.
I will move to close the public.
Thank you. Councilor Johnson moves to close the public hearing. Is there support?
Support.
By Councilor Motley. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Aye, opposed, motion carries. This public hearing is now closed. Thank you. See you at 5:30 for the regular council meeting. We stand adjourned. I don't think there's anything on the agenda for you here, Matt. We're good. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Bill, we ready? Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Virginia City Council Chambers. This is a regularly scheduled city council meeting. I will call this meeting to order. Today's date is Tuesday, March 14th, 2023. The time is 5:30 p.m. Pam, would you please take the roll call?
Motley,
Here.
Friedlieb. Here. Paulson.
Present.
Beyondich.
Present.
Johnson.
Here.
Aaron Here. Cuffey.
Present. Would everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. We'll move to item 4 on the agenda, which is the public forum. Is there anybody in the audience that'd like to speak for the council? You're welcome to come forward at this time. Seeing none, we'll move to item 5, the consent agenda. The following items will be enacted by one motion unless a councilor or a citizen of the city of Virginia requests that the item be considered separately. Item 5.1 is the approval and corrections of the minutes of the meetings that were held on 5.1A, regular meeting held on February 28th, 2023. 5.1B, the special meeting that was held on February 28th, 2023. And item 5.1C, the special meeting that was held on March 7th, 2023. Item 5.2 is the adoption of finance resolution number 23-005, the schedule of bills. And item 5.3 is approve the following travel requests. 5.3A, Kyle Larson, the new pesticide applicator certification, May 2nd through the 5th, 2023 in St. Paul at a cost of $2,125.12. Item 5.3B, Matthew Warren, police officer, to attend the AR-15 Armorer course, May 1st to the 2nd, 2023 in Alexandria, Minnesota at a cost of $931.25. Item 5.3C, Police Chief Nicole Mattson to attend the Minnesota Chiefs of Police Conference that will be held April 11th through the 14th, 2023 in Duluth, Minnesota at a cost of $525. Item 5.4, approve the 2023 tobacco license for Kyle Olson doing business as Bailey's Lake Grocery. And item 5.5, approve the 2023 massage license for Mary Jo Lance. These are the consent agenda items before the council today. Looking for council action.
So moved.
Moved by Councilor Motley and supported by Councilor Johnson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing Councilor Paulson.
Mayor, thank you. I would like to pull 5.3A and, sorry, I'm just going through my packet here. And the minutes for, so it'd be 5.1C, special meeting held March 7th, 2023. The minutes, I just want to correct the minutes on that one.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Paulson moves to hold for further discussion item 5.1C and 5.3A. Is there, that's a motion and support for the rest of the items on the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. Motion carries. Back to 5.1C, the special meeting that was held on March 7th, 2023, for some clarification of some minutes.
Okay.
Councilor Paulson.
Yep, thank you, Mayor. So on the March minutes, we had quoted in our closed statute 13D point, I think it was 03, and I don't know if that's just a typo, but it should be 13D.05 sub 3C3. And I just want to have that correctly reflected in that.
Okay, thank you. And we'll have our city clerk reflect that change from 13D.03 subdivision 3C3 to 13D.05 subdivision 3C3. Thank you. And how about item number 5.3?
5.3A.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
So I'm I guess I'm confused as to why this, if it's a pesticide applicator, why it has to do with the Iron Trail Motors Event Center and not Park and Rec. I would assume that pesticide licensure would be for the golf course, isn't that correct?
The pesticide certification.
Is that for inside the Iron Trail Motors Event Center?
That's for the city. Pesticide. We had one that had pesticide requirements back in the day, and that was I don't know who was certified before. Before him was Bill Keishel, who was the greenskeeper for the golf course. He had a pesticide license to spread across the golf course, but we did have somebody from Park and Public Works that had that to spray for pesticides sprays around the city.
So I'm just wondering if it's labeled under the departments of the Iron Trail Motors Event Center. And that's where that $2,167.33 expense is coming out of, or if that's relating to the golf course, should that expense be coming out of the Park and Rec budget?
Yeah, and let's clarify that for you, Councilor Paulson. Sherry, our finance director. Sherry?
Mayor and councilors. Good question. Right now, currently, all utility workers have to have the pesticide A and E. That's so that they could interface with the park. They still are part of the recreation department, but it's all those employees that worked under the rec department are now under the Iron Trail Motors Event Center. So we have Park and Iron Trail Motors. So this way, those employees, those utility workers could interface and help out in the park too.
So I think the question I have as well, if I may, Counselor
Well,
Paul.
can I
Go ahead.
just
Yeah,
finish
please go
if you
ahead.
don't
Yeah,
mind?
please continue.
It's Jim Hunt's signature on there, and that would be the supervisor of the utility worker at the Iron Trail Motors Event Center?
Correct.
Okay. That just seems like an awful lot of money to get that licensure.
It's every 2 years they have to be recertified.
And there's no other utility worker that has that licensure?
They all should have the licensure. For whatever reason, I don't have the travel in-depth detail as to why this particular person, but I think it's more than one, persons are traveling out, staying over, it's a test. In person.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Counselor Paulson. So, looking for a motion to approve item 5.1C, the special meeting minutes held on March 7th, 2023, the correction of the statute that was listed in there from 13.D.03 to 13D.05. Moved by Counselor Freely. Is there support? By Counselor Barnzelli. Further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now on 5.3A, Kyle Carlson, new pesticide applicator certification, May 2nd through 5th in St. Paul at a cost of $2,125.12. Looking for a motion.
We'll move for discussion.
Move to approve, but for further discussion by Counselor Freely. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Counselor Johnson. Further discussion.
I know we did receive a memo at one point, I think it was from Britt, with regard to the lapsing of the certifications of at least, I think, 3 of the utility workers. So this is only the first of the 3 that need to have that done. So 2 more would be going, but I'm hoping that we'd find somewhere that's maybe closer to home, so we wouldn't have to spend that amount. But these are required certifications for those 3 individuals that need to be accomplished. So this is just the first of the 3.
Okay, thank you, Counselor Freely. So it has been moved and supported to approve item 5.3, the travel request for Kyle Carlson for the new pesticide applicator certification, May 2nd through 5th in St. Paul at a cost of $2,125.12. Is there any further discussion? Counselor Paulson.
Thank you, Mayor. I still want to know what department that's being costed to. It is the Iron Trail Motors Event Center department. Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, to clarify, it is costed to the Iron Trail Motors Event Center. Thank you. Moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 6, appearances. We have no one scheduled to appear before the council today. Is there anyone in the audience that'd like to address the council at this time? You're welcome to come forward. Seeing none, we'll move to item 7, unfinished business. Item 7.1, the property at 410 5th Street South. Do you have any, to our city attorney, as Brian indicated to you, Mr. Lindsay, any additional information regarding the hearing that's being held?
Yes. Mr. Lindsay told me that there is now a scheduling conference set, and that is set on for April 4th.
A scheduling conference is scheduled for the courts on April the 4th.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Counselor Beyondich.
Could you elaborate on that a little bit more? What does that entail?
Yeah, so a scheduling conference, essentially the parties come together and they just discuss future dates like pre-trials and trials. So that would be the date that stuff would kind of be getting set into motion.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's a simple to schedule the upcoming court that's moving forward, so I have to get on the court docket. So thank you. Anything else on 7.1? Move on to 7.2, the clinic lease. I know that we're still working on some of the costs associated with that and discussions with the Essentia Health about that. Our clinic lease expires in a couple of years, and we begin the process of negotiating and making the repairs that are necessary to accomplish additional discussions. Councilor Beyondich.
Do you have the date of when that lease does expire? It was
Sherry?
2025.
June.
June?
I can send you the paperwork too.
Yes, if you would. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Beyondich. Anything else on the clinic lease, Councilor Motley?
Just because I'm new, what happens if the clinic lease is up and we haven't figured anything out?
We have the clinic lease is an HRA bond. We own the building. That bond is being paid off, or the lease actually expires before the bond is paid off. And so if we aren't able to come to an agreement with Essentia Health on the clinic lease, then they would likely vacate, and we'd have this building to own. I think we're still in discussions about that. There was some issues with the construction of that facility and some of the work that was done that needed to be addressed. The city took action and filed a lawsuit with respect to that, and settled with all the contractors of the original construction of that. We have that money held in abeyance minus some architectural fees and some legal fees. And I think there's something around $800 and some thousand left in it. I'm not sure. Sherry might be able to accomplish that. And we have to make these repairs moving forward. And I think as the discussions move forward with the potential continuing to extend the lease or an outright purchase, I know that's something that is in discussion now with Essentia Health. But one of the drivers of that is to ensure that the repairs are made to the clinic. Did that answer your question, Councilor Motley?
Yes, thanks.
Okay, thank you. And Sherry, what's the approximate amount of money that we have holding in advance for those repairs?
$516,000.
$516,000. And I think the repairs that we're getting quotes on are higher than $516,000. So we're going to find a way in which to accomplish that, and we'll continue our discussions and negotiations with Essentia Health with respect to this clinic lease prior to its expiration.
And just to reassure you that the agreement, because I did talk with U.S. Bank, who has the escrow and the bond on that, the agreement states that as long as they are in there renting, they're not going to be squatters. They have to pay the rent.
Right. Thank you for that clarification. Okay, anything else on the clinic lease? Okay, 7.3, the rental code ordinance. I know that Britt, our city administrator, had indicated to me that the planning and zoning is continuing to work on the fee schedule for that, and is going to be making a presentation to an adjustment to the fee schedule. Does anybody have any more information about that moving forward? I know that we should be seeing that fairly soon for us to take a look at and acting upon it. So does anybody have any questions about that? Councilor Friedlieb.
I thought that when I read the minutes of the last planning and zoning meeting, that was returning to the responsibility of the council, and not the planning and zoning, moving it to the council. And also, I think there was even comments related to like the current fee structure, which of course is still in flux, but would have been cost prohibitive for like HRA to be able to cover the costs of each of those individual units for all of the units that they have. That's my understanding, that planning and zoning is handing the baton back to the council to revise those fees and to come to some conclusion with regard to how we move forward.
That is correct. Britt had indicated to me that the planning and zoning provides some additional information for us to consider, and Britt has indicated that we're putting on the next committee whole meeting for discussion. Councilor Beyondich.
Right, and at being present at that planning and zoning meeting, I think that is what they indicated, that would come back to the city. They had some recommendations, and they kind of based it off the Grand Rapids model. But it would be up to the council to work out a fee schedule and how all of that would work. So I think it's a conversation with planning and zoning, but we, as a council, need to work on that.
Yes, thank you. And I think the recommendation came back to Britt. And then I think it's the ball, like you said, the ball is in our court to make a determination about the fee schedule itself. So we'll be discussing it at the next committee of the whole meeting. Thank you, Councilor Beyondich.
Thank you. And I also recall asking that when we do have a discussion on this, that some of the parties that were present in the audience be made aware of that, so they could also have input. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Councilor Beyondich. Okay, anything else on the on the rental code ordinance? Okay, move to item 7.4, the Ontario Motors contract. We did have a special council meeting at 4 o'clock with respect to this, and already taken action on the Ontario Motor contract. Councilor Johnson.
I would move that we remove 7.4 from future
Thank you.
agendas.
Thank you, Councilor Johnson. Councilor Johnson makes a motion to remove 7.4 because it's already been addressed. Is there support? Support by Councilor Freelieb. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 8.1, discussion items, approve submitting a draft ordinance modifying Chapter 8, Section 8.07 entitled Rules and Regulations for the Use of the Water of Silver Lake and Virginia Bailey's Lake to the DNR for approval. We just had a public hearing as required by the DNR, and we were submitting any comments or made or lack thereof in a draft ordinance for to the DNR. So we're looking to approve and submitting this draft ordinance.
I'll move the approval of the draft ordinance.
Thank you. Move to approve, moving this forward by Councilor Freelieb. Is there support?
Support.
By Councilor Motley. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We'll move to item 9, committee reports. Our city administrator is not here today. She has another engagement. So we'll start item 9.1, the committee of the whole report that was held on March 7th, 2023, or the meeting. Item 9.1A is was moved and supported at committee level to approve the quote in the amount of $13,027 for a 9-foot Chris Steel E-Series stainless steel truck box for Public Works under the state bid contract number T-765, parentheses 5, parentheses.
So moved.
Move to approve by Councilor Beyondich. Is there support?
Support.
By Councilor Motley. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Item 9.1B, approve the quote for tree cutting for the 2023 street improvement project from Calgaro and Sons Tree Service in the amount of $25,770.
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Councilor Paulson and supported by Councilor Johnson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 9.1C, adopt the resolution for the quote for the Neo Water FX30 for the wastewater treatment plant in the amount of $34,200 with the transportation fee cost of $6,500.
So moved.
Move to approve by Councilor Motley. Is there support?
Support.
By Councilor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 9.1D, approve the updated building maintenance repair foreman job description and the pay increase to $33.85 per hour as recommended by our personnel and staff.
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Councilor Paulson. Is there support? By Councilor Freelieb. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Paulson and then Councilor Freelieb.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to, I guess, clarify the reason for the increase was the the Minnesota State Inspector requires that we have a special engineer boiler's license. And so in order to obtain that licensure, that's why the increase is there. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Counselor Paulson. And so that was the same information to be disseminated by Counselor Friedlieb. So it has been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Item 9.1E, approve the library clerk social media/processing job description and a pay increase to $29.25 per hour. Move to approve by Counselor Friedlieb and supported by Counselor Motley. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. 9.1F, adopt the resolution to hire Jenny Bourbonnais as the Community Development Coordinator based upon the scoring process with a start date on or after March 14th, 2023.
So moved.
Move to approve by Counselor Johnson. Is there support? Is supported by Counselor Barnzelli. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Item 9.1G, adopt a resolution to hire Sophia Anderson for the Library Associate Reference and Outreach position with a start date on or after March 14th, 2023.
So moved.
Move to approve by Counselor Motley. Is there support?
Support.
By Counselor Johnson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Item 9.1H, and you have a copy of the contract in your packet. Approve the proposed contract for services with the golf course professional Stephen Fingerus from April 21st, 2023 to March 31st, 2026, with a change of language from retirement payment with a different language for, what was the proper language, stipend or? With the language change there. Take a look at the contract here. Yeah. So, looking for council action.
I'll move the 3-year contract.
Councilor Johnson moves to approve the 3-year contract. Is there support?
Support.
By Councilor Motley. Further discussion? First, Councilor Beyondich, and then over to Councilor Paulson. Councilor Beyondich.
Thank you. And I know when we first got this, I guess I looked at it and do we pay any of the other contract services, per se, a retirement? Is that in their contract?
Mayor?
Please, Sherry.
Mayor and council, no, but that is not, we don't pay his retirement directly. We don't cut a check and mail it to his deferred comp or wherever he's got it. When I do the budget here, it's under 613. Object code is 318, which says contract labor, and it's $150,700. That's going to include his payroll, his wages, whatever he does with that, whether he puts 5,000, whatever, up to in deferred comp in his own, that's his, we don't do any of that. We just pay him a flat fee.
Please continue.
And that's how the other services that we have in the city are paid?
Correct.
So they don't need to itemize what
And
they,
for
whatever they do,
reason-
they do?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Councilor Paulson.
Thank you, Mayor. And when we had asked our city attorney to change that from, in the packet, it had said golf professional retirement, and the clarification was made that we don't want to necessarily get into using that language, so could we please change the language? But I don't like the language being changed to MISC. I just, it's changed
To
to.
what?
MISC. Is that what it, miscellaneous? Isn't that what it says? So it says golf professional MISC. I don't like that either.
No.
That just, it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, if this is what we're doing, we're contracting his services, it's broken out, this is what the golf professional is paid, then we were doing an added, like, almost like a stipend that he is using for his personal retirement at, doing it on his own. We are not, but that's just how it got labeled. And then the golf course personnel is the balance of that on there. And so you would add that up, and that's actually not the balance. That would be 46,000 plus the, oh no. Sherry, help me out. How does that? Oh, can you hand her that? It's the same that's in the packet. It's just a different label.
Oh,
So my question is, when we're redoing the contract, we either should just lump it all, like Sherry is saying. Why do we have to break it out? I'm not sure. And then I'm not sure, I think what Counselor Beyondich's question is, do we pay anybody else an over and above? And the answer was no. So I think when we talk about this contract, we need to say, and now we're approving it, and our attorney gives us this on our desk just tonight. It's not even in our packet, and it says MISC, miscellaneous, and I'm the one that has stated, I don't want anything labeled miscellaneous. So why would we pay anyone anything that says miscellaneous?
well, we could change that from not retirement, not miscellaneous, but the stipend is the stipend. So whatever word you want to use, would you have a suggestion as to what you would label that?
Well, I wouldn't label it miscellaneous.
No, but you have.
I don't know why. I think the overall question is, we don't give above and beyond to any of our other professional services contracts people above and beyond. And so in the future, what we should do is we should say, it's the 46,000 plus the 5,000 is your lump sum plus your personnel, if that's what the city wants to pay him. Is that correct? We should not be breaking it out into any type of a stipend.
And actually, I have not worked with this. I assume this came from Fingeroos himself. So I don't know if someone here
I don't
in
know
the
if this
city
was
has
the
worked
past
with him.
contract and then we just changed the dates and it got
fine.
redlined.
It went through our park and rec director because and so we directed the park and rec director to negotiate this. He took a look at the contract, and this is what's before us today. I have no problem with anything that's in this contract. We've been paying this for him for a long time. He's provided the service that we needed. So for me, if you want a language change, I'm all for the language change, but I'm not going to, from my perspective, I think everything else is okay for the except of the descriptive of the compensation. Please continue, Councilor Paulson.
I guess I'd like to hear from Sherry, what, is that according to what the budget
Yeah, actually, it's good. Because I have contract labor for $150,700, and that would be his payroll or anybody he hires up there. And then I have golf course management, which I budgeted a little bit more than what 23 says. So, yeah, and that's his contract.
And I think my point, and maybe I'm not going to speak for Counselor Beyondich, but my point is we don't include a stipend for anyone other.
No.
And so when we redo this, or maybe I'll just make a motion that we go back. Maybe I'll motion to table until the next committee, the whole meeting, where that can be ironed out and made sense. The 5,000 gets rolled up actually into where it should be.
Yeah, his contract.
So that's what I will do. I'd make a motion to table to the next committee, the whole meeting, where staff can, or our city attorney can adjust the contract accordingly.
There's a motion to table this. Is there support?
Support for discussion.
Can't discuss on a tabling motion. So moved and supported. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? No. Roll call, please. Yeah, It's a move to table, so table overrides the motion that's on the floor.
Beyondich,
Aye.
Johnson,
No.
Aaroncelli. Cuffey,
No.
Motley,
Yes.
Friedlieb,
No.
Paulson,
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you. It's just be put on the next committee of the whole meeting. Okay. Item 9.1I, direct staff to establish a policy on uniform replacement for employees at the Iron Trail Motors Event Center and include a list of required clothing for replacement.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Motley. Is there support?
Support.
By Counselor Paulson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. 9.1J, approve the filling of the vacant mechanics position to bring their mechanics positions to a total of 5 mechanics in the Public Works Department.
So moved.
Move to approve by Counselor Johnson. Is there support?
Support.
By Counselor Motley. Is there any further discussion? Oh, yes, Counselor Johnson.
Thank you. Do we need to approve posting it, or is that implied in? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Counselor Johnson. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. 9.1K, adopt a resolution for the application to and receive funds from the RRB redevelopment grant program for demolition of a property at 511 15th Street North.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Paulson. Is there support?
Support.
By Counselor Freely. Further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Item 9.1M, adopt a resolution for the application to and receive funds from the IRRB redevelopment grant program for the demolition of the property at 225 8th Street South. I'm sorry, let me move back there. Thank you for pointing that out. 9.1L, adopt a resolution for the application to and receive funds from the IRRB redevelopment grant program for demolition of 213 5th Street South. Moved by Counselor Freely, been supported by Counselor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Now to 9.1M, adopt a resolution for the application to and receive funds from the IRRB grant redevelopment program for demolition of the property at 225 8th Street South.
Moved.
Moved by Counselor Motley, supported by Counselor Paulson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Item 9.1N, adopt a resolution for application to and receiving funds from the IRRB redevelopment grant program for demolition of the property at 610 6th Street South. Move to approve by Counselor Friedlieb. Is there support? By Counselor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. 9.10, adopt a resolution for the application to and to receive funds from the IRRB redevelopment grant program for demolition of the property at 119 6th Street South.
Moved.
Move to approve by Counselor Paulson. Is there support? By Counselor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Item 9.1P, approve the reclassification of the tax forfeit land with the exception of parcel 090-0137-0030 RLS number 17.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Johnson, supported by Counselor Motley. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. And finally, 9.1Q, adopt a resolution to apply for and accept funds from the Community Partnership Grant Program for the Shop with a Cop program.
So moved.
Move to approve by Counselor Paulson and supported by Counselor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Aye, opposed, motion carries. Thank you, everybody. We'll move to item number 10, Commission Liaison Reports. Oh, I'm sorry, here we go. Got a late hot item off the press. I think we all have that in our packet. Britt has asked us to be put on there a resolution which is dated March 14th, and it's we need to get the hopefully resolution passed. We need to seek application on the 15th. It's a resolution authorizing the City of Virginia to make application to and accept funds from the Department of Iron Range Resources Community Infrastructure Grant Program for Phase 1 of the 2023 Street and Infrastructure Improvement Program. Is whereas the City Council ordered preparation to our feasibility report for the 2023 Street and Infrastructure Improvement Project at the regular council meeting on May 24th, 2022. Whereas the objective of the 2023 Street Improvement Infrastructure Improvement Project is to improve the condition of the existing streets, avenues, sidewalks, sanitary sewer collection, water distribution, and stormwater drainage system. And whereas the estimated total cost of Phase 1 is estimated at $6,356,435. Let me repeat that, $6,356,435, with a total project cost of $14,075,236.35. And whereas if awarded, the City of Virginia hereby agrees to accept funding from the DIR, the Director of Iron Range Resources Community Infrastructure Grant Program for the project. That's the resolution looking for adoption. Move to approve the adoption of this resolution by Councilor Friedman, and it was supported by Councilor Motley. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Pam, for that. Okay, now we move to item 10, Commission Liaison Reports. Does any councilor like to give a Commission Liaison report this evening? Seeing none, we'll move to item number 11, Department Head Reports. Does any department head that's in the audience tonight like to give a report this evening? We have Jody Grabanowski, who regularly attends the city council meeting. I apologize, city council meeting. So thank you for Jody for coming to do so at this time. He does great things at the library, no question about that. So no more department head reports. We'll move to item 12, council reports. Does any councilor have a report they'd like to give this evening? Okay, seeing none, we'll move to item number 13, which is adjournment. There's no other business to come before the council this evening. Thank you everybody for hard work. We stand adjourned to our next council meeting, which is Tuesday, March 28th, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. in the council chambers. We stand adjourned. Thank you. Good night.